Indies get some big bodies in there, and Robert Williams has size, and he's got young legs, and that's the type of performance and player that you want in that situation. Now he's not much of an offensive option late in the game, clearly, but that's why you have guys like Tatum and Brown out there. That's what you want taking those shots anyway.
I mean, he made the play of the game. I mean, it could have been. I mean, he made the steal there.
Yep.
With the Celtics.
He was all over the place.
It was unbelievable.
But how do you guys feel about Tristan Thompson not being on the floor? I mean, isn't this the guy that's supposed to be the anchor of the defense, the one that's supposed to take down, bigs like Turner or whoever's the opposing bigs are? I was surprised that we didn't see him at the end of the game. And then I feel like Indiana was like, oh, wait a minute. They're not going to call timeout. We're not going to call timeout. Let's keep Rob out there, get the ball to Miles Turner, and that's exactly what happened. Boom, Miles Turner in transition, go to the basket, boom, foul and one.
Yeah, all Thompson questions directed to Bobby. Bobby, did you send me the Turner graphic or no?
I did. It should be in your text.
Okay.
The Thompson minutes are not great so far to start this year. Part of it's he's alongside Theis. I think that just isn't a great combo for them. And switching wise, I think he's been okay. But overall, a little too much isolation on offense. Defensively, I don't think he's been amazing. That switch that John called out that they almost got nailed on the open three up at the top, I think it was the second to last possession. He botched that one pretty bad. Thompson minutes haven't been great to start the year. And, we mentioned the Turner block as well late on him inside. So he's limited right now. It feels like he's not 100% back from that injury. So a little more Williams, a little less him. I'm just stunned that Theis gets 14 minutes out of those three there. I mean, this was the best center on the roster a year ago. You could argue that Theis was in Thompson's lane last year among the overall centers in the NBA, and he certainly had more institutional value to the Celtics for their defense and the cohesion with the other guys. I'm just like, why is he third on the leaderboard right now? I know Rob had a great game. You ride that wave, but
I think the reality, Bobby, is we got a little too high on Theis last year. And the reality is this is who he is on most teams. Okay. It worked for what the Celtics needed last year with the lineup that they were playing with the
they were top five defense
with the 3-wing lineup, a lot of length. The way that worked out there, they were able to make up for it other places. It doesn't work as well here. And so, again, they were able to get away with a non-traditional center playing center and able to be okay because they were so switchable and they could do so many different things on defense there, and they can't do it as well this year.
Well,
and, the reality is Theis is a jag. He's good. He's fine.
But how much does Kemba play a part of that, John? Because let's think about it. I mean, if Kemba's out there, I think he's a little more effective, or at least you would see him more often. Yeah, I agree to the fact that Steven's sort of scrambling here and trying to figure this thing out with his bigs. And I also think that Tristan Thompson, he wants him to get more adjusted to the offense. And the same thing goes for Rob Williams. And Rob Williams, of course, in training camp, talking about he's more vocal. He's a leader in the front court. So I think all of that is relative. I think he wants to get him more reps early on. But I also think that you'll see more Theis when Kemba comes back into the fold. I think there's a lot.
Maybe. I think here's the same. This was my problem with the Turner Tristan Thompson sign. Not problem. My thought with the Tristan Thompson signing was it'll be game-specific, matchup-specific. There'll be nights where he plays 17, 18 minutes. He's going to be a 6 and 5 guy. He's not going to be a guy who's like a 25, 30-minute anchor in there. All of these guys are interchangeable parts based on who's playing well, like tonight was Williams, or what the game needs based on matchups. But, Jimmy, go ahead. You wanted to get going.
I just wanted one thing that you guys haven't mentioned. I think the real reason Theis' minutes are at 14, take a look at Grant Williams' minutes tonight, 22. I mean, that's a player that if you want to make a case for Theis playing over anybody tonight, it's not Rob Williams, it's Grant Williams.
Yeah, you're right.
And that to me was the interesting thing, is because I didn't think Grant Williams had a particularly great night. I mean,
I don't think he's had
a typical Grant right. I mean, he had a typical Grant Williams night where, I mean, he did a little bit out there, and I forget who it was that blew by him in the closing seconds. It was Sabonis, blew right by him and forced Rob Williams to commit the foul. If Theis is going to be in the game, and to be honest, he gives you better offense than Grant does. So if you're rolling with Rob Williams, I wouldn't mind seeing Theis in there with Rob Williams in place of Grant.
I know, but Bobby mentioned it. That too big lineup has been brutal.
Yeah, like but
these are two different.
You could roll them out against the Pistons, maybe. Well, not
this is a tough team. You're right, Jimmy. They've played teams that, because Durant playing the 4 with a traditional 5 in what's his name?
Yeah,
Jordan.
Yeah.
And then Milwaukee's also big with Giannis playing, in there as well. And then Lopez. Actually, these first 3 games play because their fours are so big, 6'10", 6'11" guys, and they use traditional centers. Each of these 3 teams presents a situation where it's hard to go small against them. And maybe
thank God they got
I wonder if
Thompson.
the 2 big lineup lasts past this Indiana game. We'll see. I passed the next Indiana game.
Yeah, and apparently that's the Naismith thing too. Neesmith, they mentioned that before the game as well.
Who's he?
Brad mentioned that before the game, that they're going against bigger, tougher teams, and that's why he's not getting the minutes right now. This all goes back to that 5th man problem. We talked about Green. We've talked about Theis being that 5th guy in the rotation. Grant in this game, heavily that 5th guy in the lineup. They can't hammer down that spot right now. It's not Semi, and this is the Gordon Hayward spot in the lineup that they just don't have a replacement for right now. So
really?
Theis isn't the answer. They might not have an answer on the roster right now. Is it Peyton Pritchard? Do you go 3 guards? That's a possibility.
There is no answer. This was why we were so apoplectic when Hayward left. Is there's no replacing him. There's not that next guy down who's going to give you minutes that are even comparable to what he was getting. You're talking about a top 50 NBA player. And an all-star caliber guy, and the next player down is Grant Williams or Semi Ojeleye, who are barely rosterable players. I'm sorry, but I mean that's the fact. These guys are low-end rotation guys.
So Grant,
am I wrong, Josue?
Grant was bad tonight.
Barely
overall.
All right, maybe for a championship contender or a top team, but geez. Rotation player, I would say, not rosterable. They can be on the roster. That's okay.
Rotation players, okay. These Semi Ojeleye is not a rotation player on a contender.
Well, he's a defender. So if you're talking, you want defense in the rotation there. That's like Grant's struggling in that aspect right now. Maybe play Semi a little bit more, but Grant, we're all in agreement there that his are a little too high right now. I guess the fascination with him is the secondary passing out of the sidelines. I think that's been fantastic from him. He hits a 3 late, but if we look at the final score, 108-107, he went to the free throw line after that offensive rebound and missed one, a critical free throw late. So Grant was probably the worst Celtic tonight, him or Jeff Teague. I mean, Jeff Teague just 8-9 free throws in the bonus there in the third. Instead, he's 0 for 6 overall. So another nothing night from him. They're just searching on that wing position for who can be that 5th guy, and no one's stepping up right now.
Yeah, but I don't blame Brad for trying with Grant. I mean, maybe he's trying a little too hard, but I mean, if you look at his skill set and you compare him to the other options that Brad has, would you do the same? I mean, you want to try to get him going, especially offensively. His offensive skill set. He's the only one out of those 3 guys that you just mentioned that can score in at least a couple of kind of ways. I mean, he's not going to put the ball on the floor, but I mean, he has a little more versatility compared to Javonte Green and.
That floater attempt he tried was so ugly. But yeah, 2 for 4. Decent night for him.
He didn't even hit anything on that floater, right, Bobby? Like, he didn't even, it was a straight air ball.
Oh, yeah. But again, offense not the issue tonight for him either. 2 for 4. Defensively, he was a mess. You talk about the Sabonis play. When guards get onto him, he gets torched. It's not good right now.
Because that's the problem. I mean, he's no matter what, he's not big enough, strong enough to hang with bigs when he's playing in that 4-5 position. So he's going to get bullied there. And he's not quick enough to stay with a wing. I mean, he's just, no matter what, it's almost always whoever he's guarding is a mismatch. He's really ill, there's no home for him, he has to be able to do, again, we were talking about on the text thread, what's his plus skill?
3-point shooter right now.
That's passing, a plus?
3-point shooting. I mean, he has been a very efficient 3-point shooter.
That's his version of a plus.
One of those, we're not grading on a curve here. We're talking on an NBA player.
Yeah, he does a little bit of everything. That's his thing.
A little bit of everything below league average.
This is kind of with me. He does a little bit of a little
That's
bit.
That's the facts.
Baby doses of a little bit.
He's below average at almost everything.
You know who gives you,
but not terrible at anything though.
Not terrible. He's fine. He's okay.
Not off at any of those things though.
You know who gives you 30 minutes tonight against the Pacers if you had him? Miles Turner. And we're not talking about Grant Williams if Miles Turner's on the Celtics right now.
So how about Dougie Buckets?
I was more into McBuckets.
Oh, Dougie McBuckets.
I'll take them both.
I
I still take that trade.